Welcome back to part 2 of the Mando stream with the lead animation. So in part 1, this is what we had. It's pretty rough, as you can tell. It's just going to get the main story beats down in the shot. So in this part, I'm going to just continue with the layered workflow. Like I said before, this isn't really a tutorial. I'm kind of just working on my own kind of personal shot for fun. But I can't talk today. I never can talk. If you have any questions about this, either later on, if you're watching in the future, or in the chat later on, please do just leave a comment down below and I'll try and answer your question. Okay, so let's look at this and see what's going wrong with this so far. So I'm trying to work out what the most important thing about this shot is, and I think I said this in the last stream. It's the clarity of this gun pull. I don't think right now it's reading. So especially in this arm. So I'm going to track the... yeah, I'm going to track this point here. So I'm going to have Animate turned on for this. So I want to basically get the elbow kind of leading as he's drawing, and then the hand whips out and pulls the trigger. So let's try and get that in there. So I want to see how this looks with the motion trail. I was having a conversation today about motion trails, about whether they're good or bad for animation, and if you over rely on them too much. My personal opinion is it's just a tool, and you shouldn't, restrict yourself just because of sort of tradition or like history of how animation was done before. If it's there, you should use the information available to you. So so I'm going to turn the cloak off because it's getting in the way. And right, so this is where the elbow is here. I mean, I kind of do like this pose. I don't think it's the worst pose in the world. But so he's coming up. I think this is the issue pose. I think this is causing issues for me, both in the arm and in the elbow. So I'm going to try bringing this one forward, I think. To get that arc there. And this could also be kind of forward. I might have to animate this one as well. So it's coming in. Well, hello to my first viewer of the day. Thank you for joining. Yeah. It's already a bit better. And I had this recoil thing from last time, but I think my eyes are now actually telling me what's happening. This is completely wrong. So there's this little recoil thing. Okay, but I think it's not working. So let's put a tread onto the wrist as well. I want to do both at the same time, which I think is quite a good technique. And I can see what's happening here. Let's have a look. So I'm going to put this into transparency mode so you can see a little bit clearly what's going on. So basically there's a spacing issue here, isn't it? Look, it's this pose is the issue. It's 17. Let's just delete this pose, see what happens. And see what happens to the rig. Yeah, I think that's kind of the pose I want, but I just need to make it more clear. Just wish it was a bit easier to read. Because right now it's kind of lost in the body. I mean, the rotation of the gun is also quite important. I'm actually I'm gonna offset this pose. Just don't need to, no, I'm just gonna... Let's remove this one, remove. And then I'm gonna put a pose onto the gun. Because I think actually this is also equally as important. So the rotation is more important than the location. So let's try and see how this looks now. So he's going to pull out the gun. The gun's there. It needs to be higher still for a start, I think. So bring this up. I can maybe get this in. I don't want to do too many bend bones to like make it... I mean, this is a fairly nasty shape. Right angle is a bad shape. But that could be later on, be a fix I can work on later. And then, yeah, okay, I think this pose I need to bring it more round. And the elbow can also in space, come a bit forward. This pose, let's maybe delete it and see what's going on here. Just checking one thing about the stream. Give me a second. Want to make sure that I am So yeah, if you're joining my Discord, I have a Discord I've made recently, which I'm using mostly for just sharing my stuff. But also I want people to join and share their own work because I want to see what you guys are working on. So if I see what you guys are doing in your shots, I can work out what kind of tutorials you need from me. Okay, I think this is pretty close to being good, but this gun needs to point, I think, about here. So you can see the tip of the gun. Like that. It's such a awkward. Maybe I need to work on the body as well. It feels a bit better. And this is the issue as well with the this recoil thing I've done. That doesn't work. So I'm going to delete this as well. Which controller is it? IK, right? Yeah. How did I do this? What did I animate this? It was the IK hand, right? Or did I do something else by mistake? Let's delete this key. And let's just have this pointing forward. I'm not quite sure why that's happening. It may be a thing in the shoulder. But I will check that. The shoulder being affected by this, maybe? Okay, there's a slight pop here, as you can see in the spacing issue, but that maybe is a bit too much detail for now. Let's turn off the motion controls, so a bit more smoother. No, it's still not working. This it's to do with the posing. It's something with the posing. It's not quite working. Basically, if you haven't worked out by now, the issue I'm having is it's not clear what's happening. These poses from like 16, 17, 18 is kind of lost in the body, and I'm not quite sure the best way to do it. I might work on the FK chest for a bit. I think maybe the FK chest is needing to be a bit more smoothed out. And then maybe I can work on actually getting the gun to read. So I think I can, first of all, put this, let's make this moving hold a bit better by having this rotate this way. There's also no anticipation, I realized that as well. That might be what I need as well. And it's a bigger anticipation pose. Because right now it kind of stops and then just boom, it moves, which is a bit too fast. Maybe even like a foot step or something, like a foot reshuffle. That might help. Yeah. So I'm actually gonna. Where's his weight going? His weight's going. It's going over this leg, isn't it? So what I might do is I might have this foot start a bit further out, or start a bit further forward, and then about frame 7 keep it the same, and then maybe at frame 11 keep it the same, and then at frame 9 I can have like a little step like this, even like a little foot shift. This gives a little bit of movement. It's too early, I think. It's too early, but that kind of works with the idea, I think. Oh, so let's move it forward back. Let's move it forward in time. So let's take these 3 keys, shift it forward. And this is why I love the layered workflow approach, because I'm just like kind of playing with things now. Like I'm just having a bit of fun. So it's going to go over this leg, the weight. And it's so fast to add these little details in, and then you can like see if you like it. If you don't like it, just delete it or change it. So because he's doing this little shift shuffle, I'm imagining he's going to fall onto this foot. So I want to have a weight shift this way, but also frame 7 is going to be coming down because he's going to have to when this foot's in the air, his weight's over this other leg. So bring this one down. Maybe at frame 9, delete this one. And then he's going to go back across onto the other leg. Cool. And then he's going to be continuing down this way because he's going to be drawing the gun. He wants to get this leg, get his body as far away from the gun so he gets the gun out. And then he's going to shift it back across onto the other leg to push off. Yeah. Okay. So that's kind of working, but I need to work on this knee, of course. I'll work on the armor later, like I said. So let's get this out. Need these keys. Don't need them. And this is also a bit broken. Maybe I could have a little roll here. So which one is the roll control? Is it this one? Yeah. So maybe here it's a slight roll. Like that. Yeah, it's something in the cog as well. So this is just about, I guess in a way I'm polishing it this stage. I mean, it's not really a polished spline pass, doesn't really apply to layered workflow because you kind of just work on bits at a time and make it good. And I think I said this in a different stream, but the way I kind of think about my shots is that I look at my shot and think, what is the biggest problem? I fix that, and then I find the next biggest problem and I fix that. And I just go through that process on like a cycle, and eventually the things get better and better until it kind of feels like it's a decent shot. And then when you feel like you can't really fix things or we haven't got any time left, that's when you're done. Which has its flaws. There's definitely downsides to that. One of them being the posing, like I said, like sometimes the posing can be weak because you're less focused on the poses and you're focused on the movement. So I think also the FK spine, the issue right now I'm seeing is that it's moving as one block. So you see how it's all moving together, especially in this. I think it needs to get back in space, as in rotate backwards more. So right now it's just kind of being linear. So I think at frame 10 it's fine. I'm gonna bring this down for a second. Maybe not everything. So this is 1, 0, 1, 2. So 2 is the top, right? So bring 2 down. Bring 1 kind of even, and then let's start bringing this one up. So the bottom bit of the spine is moving downwards. The higher up the chest bit is moving backwards. So you get this offset. And so fix these. I might just delete this one, bring this one down a bit. This one, delete, bring this up a bit. And then this one, just delete both of them. Also this arc as well, you can see here the arc is too flat, it's just straight down. That's the issue with the translation X. So let's look at this. So let's go to frame 13. Maybe keep that. Okay, so I need to have a frame here. So I'm going to have to do it manually in the viewport. I'm going to fix it later with the spacing. It's also a TY issue as well. Yeah, that does also happen. Thank you for commenting, by the way. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, it does definitely get hard to judge whether you've done better or worse. You can always make a save copy, of course. Or if you're really in doubt, you can make an animation layer, play with it, and then you can just put it on and off. I normally find 9 times out of 10 it does improve. If you're at the stage where you're not sure, then I think you should be making a new save file and just trying things out. But also because of the way I work now, I've got pretty good at working, I guess. How to explain this? Like I always know what I've changed. I can always go back and change it. Like it's very incremental, I guess, the way I work. Yeah, I agree though. That is one of the downsides of working this way. Right, okay, so there's a spacing issue here. I think it's to do with also timing. I might actually just select the whole rig. So I've got Animate rig, select that. I might add a frame in here. I think the down pose here is too quick. So I'm going to add a frame, frame 13, let's click add to the frame now. Yeah, I think that's a bit better. That's one frame makes a big difference. Mostly to the spacing, but also to the timing as well. Turn this off. Yeah. Okay, let's also work on this moving hold a bit more. So I think the upper chest is going this way, right, for the moving hold. Let's put the head the opposite way. At least have some movement to the head. Just something, just a little bit of a subtle nod. And the fingers can maybe flick later on, but that's a later part of the Cool. Okay, this footstep, while it's a good idea, it's still not quite. Let's say this is gonna get. There we go. It's gonna be I think actually to sell the tense, the what's the word? The energy of the scene. I think actually having a footstep at the very start as well, like it's just reshuffling his feet, trying to get the best position and posture. Like it's posturing for, I guess, the fight. So I think I want frame 4 to be the final pose here. So I'm going to change frame 0 just by really subtle, like just rotation like this, like that, and then keep frame 1 the same. I should keep frame 2 the same as well. Then keep frame 6, and then this 4 can be the shift. Just very subtle. Just a second. Yeah. So it needs to have a slight lift though. Of course, the weight's going to go across, even very subtly. It's going to go across. So frame 4, bring the weight across this way, and bring this down this way to push off. There we go. I think his head moves too much because, again, I know this is so random the way I'm working, but it's just how I work at the office. I just look at my shot, see what looks wrong, change it, and keep going until I feel happy. So I feel like he's going to be looking at the guy a bit more. He's going to be keeping his eyes focused where he's going to be shooting, right? He's not going to be like, head's not going to flop around. So I'm going to try and keep that head locked. Okay. Okay. Okay, I think the next issue I'm having, which is a bit more of a bigger issue, I'll show you in the blue pencil. So I've got this kind of, this is my kind of pose. If I show the blue pencil, this is kind of the pose I've got here. So I want to try and get a kind of flipped pose, but I'm staying in this C curve the entire time. I haven't really gone out of it. So even if I do keep this as a realistic animation, I still want to try and get that contrast in there. I hope that makes sense. So I'm gonna try and get that with this kind of when he's pushing off here. I don't want to go completely like flipped, but I do want to have a bit more. I think it's going to be the rotation Z. That's what I want to focus on here. So, well, I don't know. This song's a bit. Let's choose a different song. There we go. Let's look from the front. Oh, there's a pop here as well. Maybe it's the hips. I think maybe it's actually the RZ in the hips. I think this spacing's too big, I think. Let's work on this for a little bit. Sorry if my coughing's loud, sorry. The air conditioning is just making my throat like crazy. Okay, just looking from the side. Yeah, okay, I think this can be less. This can be down more. Just give a bit of variation. So when he's moving the foot, I think he needs to move his body this way. And this also needs to be... I think this up pose needs to be a bit earlier. But he's dying here. His body just dies here. So maybe put this even lower. I know I had it the other way before, but I think I was wrong. Does that feel better? And then I'm going to bring this up a little bit more. Sorry for these coughs, really. There we go. That feels a bit smoother now. And it means because I've gone so far this way in this crouch pose, then this pose, not quite this one. There's a pose here that makes more sense. Anyway, I've gone from squash into stretch. That might make it more exaggerated, but at least that's the kind of aim. Yeah. Cool. So yeah, this foot, I think now looking at it, is doing the right thing, but it's still a bit too early, and it's still going a bit too far. So I'm going to bring this forward in space by 2 more frames. Or should I 1? Yeah, I think actually that's fine. Well, thanks, man. I'm trying. It's I still think of this as a hobby. Like streaming is a hobby. So I'm hoping that if I keep up the work, people might join. And yeah, but I'm just doing it on weekdays to stream, and I have a few tutorials on my channel that I'm working on. Then actually, this is going to be part of a tutorial. This video isn't a tutorial. I'm doing this one for fun, but I'm going to kind of make a compilation of different workflows, and I think this might be a good example for one of them. Cool. Okay. Yeah, I think also because of the way I've got the gun, sorry, the way the body's moving now, the gun makes more sense. Cool. Right. I know the feet need work in terms of... I'm looking at the feet in terms of timing and also the weight. I think actually that amount of movement is fine, so I'm going to leave that for now. Okay, let's go back to this hand then, because I think now the hand is something we can work on again. Now the body's moving better, we can work on the hand. I think actually the hand might already be okay. Just this pose feels weird. It's not going to be this far out, is it? So let's bring this in. Let's delete it actually. Maybe that's fine now. Because of the fact the body's working a lot better, I could leave it at that. I think the gun might need to stay out longer. I think having this is a nice pose, but I think actually keeping in this pose for longer, maybe even like checking the guy's still alive, it might make more sense. So I'm gonna take these keys and shift them forward. This is the gun. Yeah, that makes more sense. Cool. And let's get this. I think now I need to work on a bit more of this jetpack hovering. I think having it for 50 frames might be too long. I might shorten this a little bit, but just getting this motion in there for now. So this pose definitely, I think I could shift this way, bring it across screen. Just getting some very rough. Let's go to the translation tab. So obviously this is wrong. Delete that one. Let's put on a motion trail as well. I'm going to change the transparency because I want this to be a bit more visible, and frame to 24. Maybe, and this is, again, because it's a personal shot, I have like the liberty to do what I want. Yeah, maybe you could like boost like across the screen, like do a little jetpack shift to the side. I've got all this empty space I could use. So like he shifts across like over here. But that's a very kind of change of the dynamic. There's no reason for that, I guess. So So yeah, one thing to do with layered workflow, you shouldn't forget your principles of animation, like staging and squash and stretch and stuff. It's quite easy to just go in and just do what you want. But especially when you don't have a plan, it's going to obviously fail. So you have to still think of a plan. You got to still think of all the rules of animation, like overlap, overshoots, and stuff. Cool. I think this let's find a ending pose. I think that's a nice pose there. I managed to delete these two keys. So actually delete everything here. Delete these two. See what happens if I let Maya do it for me. Cool, okay. So I think I want this to end a bit more about this position. So I'm going to take the translation of the IK feet. So IK feet, IK, or the root. And I'm going to shift this in world space towards the right. So it was about there, right? Okay, so let's just move it across like this. Maybe do a bit further forward. Cool. And then let's go and look at the translations again. So this is going to be deleted. Same with the translation Z. I'm going to delete this one here. Oh wait, no, just this one. And the translation Y, did that one too. I kind of want them to drop and have a little bit of a settle for 10 frames. Cool. And let's work on the space switching because I have to switch the IK/FK back again. So I think I have, no, I have it turned off. Yeah, I think the extras, these are the bend controls here, right? So I want this off. Just checking why they're on. Tweaks on. Just delete those keys. Off, there we go. Okay, so I want to have the IK switching at about frame 88, I guess. Cool. It's interesting. Okay, so let's have. I'm just thinking when's the best time to do the space switching. I'm thinking if he should just drop or if she land gracefully. I don't know. Let's try this. I'm gonna make a ghost pose quickly. I just want to make sure that I can see this position. So add this to the rig. This plugin's great, by the way. I'll link it in the chat if anyone wants to know about it. It's basically just a way to copy the geometry and create a transparent shader, so you can then basically just check your posing. So there is the link. Basically, yeah, you just take this, add it to the geometry, and I want to make a pose here. So I made a pose, change the transparency, make it lighter. So now when I go to this IK pose, I want the feet to match up a little bit more. So I'm going to shift this again. Actually, the thing, maybe yeah, it needs to go backwards. So I'm going to just bring this backwards in space a little bit, like there. So now the foot, you see how this heel and these toes are kind of in the same position? So it makes it a bit easier to match IK, FK together. Cool. So I think having the match on frame... Where is the pose? Oh, because I have to actually shift this. I changed the location. So let's move this back to where it was, which was here. Do that there. Okay, set a key. And then I think having frame 87 can be the left leg switch pose. So I'm going to take the switcher, set a key here, set a key at both frames. So I want 87 to be FK and 88 to be IK. So I'm going to change this back to IK, which is FK blend. So make this 1. There we go. And then let's take this IK controller. I'm going to, first of all, delete these ones. I can keep that the same, that's fine. delete this one, and I'm actually going to copy frame 100 to frame 88, like that. Delete frame 99, and then I can just rotate this, maybe using the roll control here, like that. I want to try and match this frame as best I can. So bring this forward. Use world object space. There we go. It's definitely in the ground a little bit. I don't want it too much. Maybe bring this toe up as well. Feels about right. So let's look at that. Yeah, that's kind of the motion I want. It settles and comes down. Obviously, it's super, super rough, but that's kind of the main idea. So let's key these three together. So that's the rolling, the roll, this one here. Then I want the foot, and then I want, let's just do everything here. This is easier. Just key this here, 88, key it at, delete 89, key 88. And then by 89, I kind of want it to be on the ground. So I'm going to make sure the translations are the same. I don't want it to move. So you see how it's slightly shifted because of frame 100. Let's keep this the same. I also keep this the same at frame 100. And then I can maybe just 1 second, my wife's calling me for help. I'll be right back in a second. My wife's calling for help. 1 second, I'll be right back. Sorry guys, 2 minutes. Okay, yeah, sorry about that. I'm back now. My wife needed help, but she's all good. Cool. Okay, where was I? Yes, working on this pose with the landing. So the timing is wrong, but let's get this at least the feet kind of working. So it's coming in, and then by frame 90, it should kind of be flat because he's going to fall quite hard because it's kind of like basically landing from a jump, right? So at this pose, it's kind of going to be really the same. So I'm going to select all these things again, set a key at frame 100, delete this one here, and then I'm going to copy this 100 pose to frame 90. See how that looks. Okay, so the cog is too soft, but the feet feel okay. I mean, it needs polish, but at least the timing. Maybe actually 1 frame less. Is it 1 frame? Okay, cool. So I can fix the FK a bit more to make it feel a bit smoother. Okay, let's also work on the cog with the landing. So the TY needs to be like the bouncing ball. The TY is going to have like a drop. So right now it's kind of is easing in, which doesn't quite make sense. So I'm going to delete this pose. I'm going to break the tangents, which is for me B, but you can obviously right click tangents and break tangents or unify tangents. So breaking means I can individually edit these handles. So I'm just going to make this more like a bouncing ball. So when it's kind of slowly falling, this like smashes to the ground. Cool. And it still needs to go down here though. So actually, let's fix this one too. Maybe more like that. Or maybe I don't need to break them too much. Yeah. I need to fix the TX or TZ. Sorry, X. This is weird. Let's make that just auto tangent. Bring that in this way. There we go. Cool. And then I think going backwards in space makes sense, but not that much. Bring it up forward a bit more. About there. Delete that one. Yeah. Let's do a quick save. Was there anyone any questions? Do feel free to ask. I know this isn't really a tutorial, like I said, but I am still trying to at least explain my thought process. So hopefully it's useful to watch. I know, as like I said before, the reason I'm making these streams is because when I work, I like just watch other people animating in the background. So I'm hoping that this kind of thing is what people use it for, just watching while they work. Cool. So I do think I can add a bit more variety to this hovering. I don't think it'd be that fun just to stay still in space. So I'll think about what I can do. I do think, even though it doesn't have any reason for it, I do think maybe landing here could be fun, but actually landing at the front could be more fun. So I'm going to take these IK handles again. So take this one and this one. And the cog, just checking it moves together. Yeah, move it in world space. How are you doing your ghosting animation? Oh, do you mean the this bit at the back? It's the plugin. I use it every single animation I do. It's here. So I linked it just above you, Avera. So it's the link above. But this is basically the plugin. You add the geometry. So click on the geometry you want. So I want to have this one, the body, add it in and make a pose. And it sticks in space as a transparent pose. So I can then like FK or IK match, or I can just check. Like if I'm doing pose to pose workflow, it's a bit easier to see like the before and after simultaneously. So sometimes stepping back and forth is good, but yeah, it's the best plugin I've ever got. It's free as well. So I don't have that many plugins. I see sometimes animators at like work or even just on YouTube, their entire bar is full of stuff. And I'm sure they are useful, and I do know that there's more things than what I have. But Animate, Ghost Poser, Studio Library, and the ML Baking plugin as well. These 4 is all I need. Yeah, it's linked above. It's the best thing ever. Cool. So actually, thinking about it now, as I was saying, I think maybe actually just to make this animation more interesting, and this is something I should have planned at the start. This is why this workflow does require planning if you want to be effective. And why it's sometimes not as useful for studio work, because well, that's not true. You can use it for the studio, and I do use it at the office, but I'm changing things in the middle of the shot, which is not very good planning. But I want to have him, I guess, jetpack forward as in like in victory, or at least in confidence, and land like in more in front of the camera. So I'm gonna take all these poses, and I have Animate, so I can move these together the same distance. So world pose, I'm going to bring them forward. Make sure I select everything now, because I haven't selected this one. So IK1, IK2, and then the root. And do it in world space. Try again, double click. No, just do 78. Select, there we go. And bring it forward like this. Maybe a bit more to the side. Like there. I'll do some camera animation later as well. Yeah. So I think maybe he can come here, and then he might actually hold. So I'm going to hold his his like translation Z in space. So I'm going to keep it. No, that's the rotation. I meant translation. There we go. So keep this down like that. Back here for us for our time. Just delete this one maybe. And then maybe put a key, bring it down. There we go. And then I'm going to have him kind of zoom forward. So maybe a bit faster. And then in the middle have it come down in space. And I think also rotating forward. So the jetpack is actually in effect. Of course, the FK spine needs to be rotated, but I'll do that later. Yeah, okay. That's the kind of the basic pattern I'm going for. I think even the timing already feels pretty good. Maybe just a little bit of a less hang time. So I want him to kind of zoom in and like land kind of straight away, not hang there again. It's coming in for the landing. So let's just select these again. It's this bit here. I might just delete this. No, delete this one. I should delete. Let's bring this back here like this. I might need to change the feet now as well. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, the first half is kind of like splined, sort of. And then the second half is basically layout pass. Okay. Just thinking what to work on next. What bit is causing the most issues? When you work this way, you have to really train your eye to ignore problems, because there's so many things wrong right now, as you can tell. And I'm sure watching it, if you do step pose or do pose to pose workflow, then your mind is exploding with like, what the hell am I looking at? So I'm just trying to isolate different things in my head and look at just one thing. So I am looking at the root basically, if the root's moving correctly. And it's not really, obviously, there's definitely issues with it. But I'm thinking if it's worth focusing on first, or if I should work on the limbs or the legs first. I think I need to get the movement, this pose here. So I might make a pose here, actually. So I might set a key at everything at frame 63. Just that, I said, sometimes I do set poses, even if I'm doing layered workflow. I've got a few here. So I'm going to make this pose a bit better. Let's get some reference for this pose. So, Mandalorian jetpack pose. So I'm not doing something super like flying through the sky, but let's have a look what I have. I'll bring it here. So I think this pose might be a bit too what's the word? Like too like airplane flying through the sky. But I mean this kind of could work. Especially as maybe the final pose here. He comes out of it. And oh, that's my documents. Yeah. Maybe. Oh yeah, it's definitely hard to ignore pops, especially when I get to like late splining. Yeah, sometimes just ignoring it literally to block it out. Yeah, I think because I work in layered so much, I've got pretty good at ignoring things. But even so, pops are the worst, especially knee pops. Okay, let's just work on a flight pose. So I need to go back to 63, right? Yeah. So I think this pose. Why is the FK? Oh, am I already going back in? I am, aren't I? Oh, I've done this. That's not good. There we go. Need to keep that flat. And set a key here again. That isn't correct. Why is that doing that? That shouldn't be like this. Oh, I've translated the IK. This is the FK foot, and I've put a translation on there. That's not good. Okay. Delete that. Put this to 0. I want to lock this actually. I don't want to ever do any translation issues. So lock selected. Might also lock these ones here. Lock selected. This is the FK Yeah, that was a big mistake by me. Okay, cool. So let's check the rig again. Set a key. I'm going to delete frame 64 now. Just checking I have actually done that. Yeah. Okay, cool. So this 64 pose, I'm going to bring the hand back for a start. Actually, do the FK chest first. So it's going to be kind of pretty linear. I don't want him to be horizontal. I think going horizontal could be too much, but bringing him this way and then rotating his chest back a bit. Like that, yeah. So then I have this like kind of reverse C pose. And then kind of superhero kind of thing. I don't want the gun to be completely like relaxed, but I think having it pretty sort of down could make sense. Cool. And I think this leg can be further back. Just it. Both these can be further back. Because I need to make sure that he feels like he's going forward. And I can bring this down. Do a different song. Let's do this song. Cool. And then I need to work on a pose here as well. So I'm going to set 63. And then 70 is kind of where it's coming into. I think I need to do some camera animation soon as well. And then I think I need to have the opposite. So actually this is now where maybe that pose I had before. What was it? This kind of pose might work. So I might just leave this in the corner. Hopefully if I do this, there we go. Does that work? Yeah, so you can see everything. Cool. Put that there. So they can see this pose. Actually, I can't quite see that. I've got Pure F. That'll be easier, won't it? 1 second. I'll get this pose on my screen for you guys so you can see it. How is your stuff going, Vera, by the way? How's your work going? No. Let's put this in. There we go. Now you can see it on that screen. Cool. So I think the gun up is what I don't need. But having it so I think maybe I should keep the gun out. Bringing the gun down makes no sense. I think when he moves forward, that's when the gun should come down. So set key there. Delete these two, set key there again. And that's also a frame 54. He's gonna definitely be still quite what's the word? Curled in. Because he's got to actually prepare for the boost forward. I think also at frame 54 still keep this gun kind of up. It's just a bit tricky. Normally I can kind of visualize how I would do the movement myself, but I don't have a jetpack. So I'm just trying to think how energy and how forces would transfer through the body. Looking at it from perspective really helps. I think he would actually, I think the bit where he's going to be the most sort of lean forward is going to be the anticipation. So the jetpack can kick in. And he's going to drop in space, right? Because if he's going to go this way, then the energy is going to be pushing him like to the side. So gravity is going to take over more. It's going to drop down. So I'm going to keep this up though, here. Like that. Yeah. And this will be that even more. I think I've got this too far rotated now. It needs to be a bit more sort of streamlined forward. But yeah, what kind of shot are you working on? Is it acting or something, or what are you doing? And this is okay, I think, but this is not right. This is the opposite, so it needs to be curled in now. This is the curling pose, because he's now going to be, his root's going to be taking all the yeah, all of the momentum. So this is going to all follow through. Oh, cool. Well, definitely show me, because I would love to see it. Even just for feedback, or just to have a look. I'm curious. Whatever you want to do, but I'd love to see your work, because you have pretty good stuff. I love your stuff when we were working together in Animation Mentor. Yeah, cool. Okay, I think the motion is okay, but I think it could drop faster. This is like really slow. So I think what I might do is I might set key at 70. Move this. I move this. Wait, I think this is actually not helping me. I'm gonna delete this image. I mean, it was helping me, to be honest. No, my skills went down as well. I mean, this is why I started streaming, just to force me to work and be accountable. Yeah, my job, even my current job is the same. It doesn't help you grow, especially because you come out of Animation Mentor with like so much knowledge and skills, and then I felt like I wasn't quite utilized as much as I could be. But yeah, it pays the bills, like you said, and I'm starting to get more stuff, which is, I guess, harder, and more comical and more like, you know, I guess acting. So I'm pretty happy with my current stuff at the office, like this last month. But the first year was definitely, yeah, a bit disappointing. Okay. So I need to... Okay, I think... I wonder how fast he can stop with the jetpack. Or all in steps? What do you mean, like on twos, or like just the you have to do stepped animation? I mean, I show my work in steps sometimes, but I like working in layered. Yeah, I think he can stop faster. I think bringing this down might be better. Like that. No, bring this one down. This one too. Bring this here. So I'm going to imagine he has control over like the location. No, that doesn't make sense. Yeah, he can't go backwards. He's got to go forwards. He's going to land and kind of step forward. So this is like that. Ah. Oh yeah, twos and threes. Yeah, I did a few bits of work with that. There are some positives to doing that, like you work on, you know, posing, but I agree. You do lose out on like your splining ability. Okay. Cool. Oh, hi Tana. Thank you for coming in. That's a good question, and that's actually the exact reason I'm making this video. There's no reference for this shot. If you want to watch the entire stream, part one, you can see what I did. But in terms of your question, the very first thing I would do is I would really think about the weight and the forces that are happening to the character. So, for example, if it's a jump, really think about the anticipation poses, like how to make the character sink into the jump, which hip is going to take the weight, and where the force is coming from. And then when you actually animate the landing, for example, you're going to think about how heavy the character is. But if you manage to add weight into your shot, then that's the first thing that can make it, I guess, more believable. In terms of the timing, Without reference, it's hard to work out the timing. I think that just takes practice. Just in your head, you got to really think about, like, imagine the animation in your head, and you can just count, I guess, how many frames. There is some stopwatches out there, like animation stopwatches, so you can click a button. Actually, I might have it here. Do I have it here? Maybe I'll find it for you. Frame stopwatch. Basically, you there's a few things out there. Yeah, so basically here we go. So you click start, and then you click stop. So in your head, you think about the animation, and then it gives you the frames. So I know that if I want to do a jump, I can think about it like, okay, he's going to 3, 2, and jump, and he's going to land now. And I know that that jump is on 34 frames. So that's how you can think about the timing. And then after that, really, it's just a case of adding in your poses the same way you would do anyway. Just making sure you have a good plan, like sketches, or even in your head, you know exactly what you want to animate. I don't really do much sketches anymore. I haven't never really did, to be honest. So if I don't have reference, I just kind of imagine quite, like, I really replay the animation in my head, my vision, and then I can just go in and do my workflow. And when I do no reference workflow, I normally normally do some golden poses, like really strong, good poses. And I go pretty quickly, I go into my splining and layering approach. Because for me, I want to see the timing and the motion quite early on, which is what this video and this stream is about. So that's my advice. That's quite a lot of information. So hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, that's kind of what I would do. But yeah, so look out for weight and just try and work on your timing in your head. And that takes practice, but yeah. And of course, the last thing is just posing is posing. Make sure your poses still look pretty. Don't have like your limbs copying each other. Don't have, have a nice line of action. All the same things that apply. Okay. So I think maybe this needs to come up. I need to have like an anticipation. So, oh, hi, Joanne. Thank you for coming in again. And then he's gonna, yeah. This pose is really bad. So this feels really maybe bringing this forward in space. There's no reason to go forward here. There we go. And then this one has got transition Z. Get this here as well. I'm just trying to think about how it would work. Yeah, of course. I mean, right now, literally what I'm doing, I'm trying to think about the weight of this shot. So while it's not on the ground, there's still weight to the character. So I'm just thinking of like what. So the forces are going to come out from the jetpack, right? So I'm thinking if I rotate the body this way, of course it's going to fly off this way. The forces are going to apply it that way. So I want to try and counter that force by other body parts. So I'm starting with the root. I'm trying to think, how would the root move when it's being affected by the jetpack? And I think I'm going to give him some also control. He has control over the jetpack. So it's not completely just like a tail following it. He is controlling it. So he's gonna lean forward to like activate the thrust. So that's what I'm thinking of, how he's gonna, like, how this motion will start. So for example, at frame 57, okay, yeah. So I'm looking at the legs now. I think frame 50 is fine, but as he leans forward, right, he has to have this counter motion with the legs like that. They have to still stay in that position. So that's probably too much. Maybe do it a bit less. Or maybe even shift it forward in time. This is where the timing thing comes in. I'm just looking at the timing. So maybe I can bring that down. And then I can also activate the shins as well. So I'm going to put a key here, frame 51. Bring this forward first, and then back. Bring it up. So you see how I'm just trying to counter the rotation and the still stuff. So, how many hours do you want to practice to become a professional animator? I mean, there's no magic number. If I count the hours I did, I mean, from the very first moment I opened up Maya and did a bouncing ball to my first paid animation job was exactly 1 year. And I was still a student when I got my first job. So I was still learning animation at Animation Mentor. But while I was studying, I got offered a freelance job, which I took. And then about 6 months after that, so now it's 18 months of learning, I got my my first like studio job where I was working, which I'm still at the same company now. Been there for quite a while now. It was over a year, nearly 2 years. Well, no, year and a half. Yeah. So I guess I would give yourself at least a year, but it depends on what you mean by learning. Like if you spend your full time studying, you could probably get there quicker. Yeah, Chester Sampson was the reason why I started. He's a good animator too. Probably better than me, at least the character stuff. I haven't seen. I mean, yeah, he's a good animator. I like him a lot. Cool. Okay, I think actually he can get backwards in space more. He can continue to travel backwards until he does come forward. But yeah, RS, I agree. It's just so nice to have. Yeah, music can get annoying. I also watch Netflix while I work as well. Like having just music is just too it's too, what's the word? It's not enough distraction. I need my mind to be distracted by other stuff to focus on animation. At least when I'm like polishing and splining. When I'm blocking, sometimes I have to focus a bit more because I'm thinking about more stuff. If what I'm doing seems random, by the way, and you have any questions, just ask me and tell me what you're doing there, because I know I am jumping all over the place. And just like I said before, if anyone's just joined, what I do is I look at my shot, I work out what is the worst part, and I go and fix that part, and I just do that on a cycle until everything seems to work better. Cool. Cool. Okay, so now I want to get like a pose for this landing. I think to get some more variety in this pose, I want to have a bit more of a bent leg, especially in one of them. So what leg was bending at the start? So this leg comes up, this is bending here. I'm going to add more into this. So I'm going to make this pose a bit better later. That's might do it now. Oh, I would, yeah. So in terms of perfection in the animations, I made a video explaining this and why people might think their animations suck. Not that you suck. I'm saying why people think they suck. But yes, the basics are so important. Today, this video I made why you think animations suck and how to improve. Basically, what I'm saying here, and go watch that video, please. But basically, it's saying if you don't have the basics down, and I mean just do the basics over and over again. I've done so many bouncing balls, and I've done the pendulum so many times. I've done so many walk cycles, and just you got to understand that if you don't know the basics, both if the technical animation basics, but also I guess the animals of the principles of animation, and also learning Maya as well. Like you really need to learn these stuff because it's so important. Like everything I'm doing here, all these curves is just a bouncing ball. I'm just thinking about the same in and out curves of a bouncing ball, and I'm just learning. I'm just applying the same sort of principles. Okay. Cool. Okay, so I think this pose here needs to be nicer. So okay, he's bending this leg here. So I'm going to try and shift. So let's copy this pose and delete this one. No, I don't like that at all. Let's do that again. I think this pose 50 is it 70? Is that all rigged? Did I check that? Oh no, Maya, don't crash on me again. Okay, this will reopen in a second. So yeah, reopen. Give me a minute to reopen Maya. Oh, in the meantime, if you guys are curious, not that I'm asking for money, because I don't want this to become that kind of YouTube account. But yeah, I have a buy me a coffee account page which I'm using, and also it's not just for like giving me random money. I also have stuff on there which you can buy. So if I show you what I have on my shop, here we go. This is my profile, so you can sort of, you know, support me. But also in my shop, I do sell my animations. So for example, this stream I did a IREX walk cycle. I'm not giving the rig away. You got to download the rig yourself, but you can get the rig file and then you can see all my curves and my animation. So it costs £5, but actually if you join me as a member, everything's free. So £2 a month and you get all of these things for free. Again, not the rigs. The rigs you got to download elsewhere, and they're mostly free. I think this rig here you got to pay for, but all these other rigs are free. Anyway, if you want to help me out, that'd be great. Sorry, to answer your question, sorry, this is off topic. No, that's not off topic. That's really important. There is a few rules that you can do. Generally speaking, you got to check the neck, the hips, and the feet, and you should have kind of a line between them. So if I show you this pose here, you see how this is clearly on balance, right? The legs are wide and stuff. If I moved it this way, like this, it's still on balance, but it's getting very close to being off balance. But basically the neck and the head is still over the foot. But if I did this, like that, this kind of starts feeling off balance now, especially if I take it off the ground. I mean, it's still kind of okay because the neck, again, is over the foot. But if I now start doing this, and I bring this one in, that looks off balance to me, personally. I mean, this leg being out, you can kind of counter it a bit more. But generally speaking, you want to try and keep the neck in between the feet. That's a very basic rule, and it obviously gets broken a lot because, of course, cartoons break rules and all the time. But generally, if you look at a shot from all angles and just think, if I could stand like this, would I fall over? That's the basic general rule. And then on top of that, you got to think about any forces that are being happening. So, for example, things like wind. Wind will make it so your balance will change. So you have to think about how wind will be affecting it. Or if you're moving or jumping through the air, or you're running, because you have forward momentum, of course, you still have to have the weight shift from each leg, but because you're going forward, you can spend less time holding your balance, so you can kind of move through space quicker. So that's a bit more confusing, but the basic point is just imagine if you're doing the same pose, would you fall over? And that's what I try to think about when I do these things. Okay, let's save this as, because I want to make sure I don't lose this again. Cool. Okay. Cool. Okay, so this clearly is, this end bit's a bit confusing now. So I'm going to shift these poses. I forgot what I was doing before because of the crash. But because I'm in this linear space, like here, I want to move. Yeah, this animation needs to come across. I'm going to ignore the feet for now. just work on the body. So this is the issue. I'm gonna just open Animate again. Yeah, but thank you for asking questions, brother. That's what this stream is about, really. I just want to answer and help people out. Like, I'm not the best animator in the world, but I have studied a lot, so hopefully a little bit of knowledge can be given back to someone who wants to learn. How long have I been streaming for? It's been 1 hour 10. Okay. So 1 hour 10 is not too bad. I can keep going a bit longer. Okay. So if I'm landing here, this of course has got to come down. There's no reason why it's going to shift across randomly. You might have a weight shift at the end, but before I do that, I want to get the landing kind of nailed. So that's kind of where he's landing. Yeah, the feet are going crazy. Cool. Okay, let's we'll put a trail back onto the hips. So I think the issue is the TY and it might also be the timing still. I'm gonna actually, I had this broken before, but I'm gonna reunify them so they're together. And I'm just gonna set D, and I'm also gonna just, I think he needs to land quicker. No, too fast. I want a slight hover, because of course the jetpack will have some upward thrust, like going up in space. So I want to make sure I have a little bit more of that. Actually, no, I'm going to break these. No, I'm going to do it. Sorry. No, I'm going to keep the Unify for now. Because I want them to... He's going to have a settle. That's too slow. It's too slow. I think actually he needs to have a hover. So inserting a key, hover it a little bit. I might spline this a bit more. Okay, I think actually the timing is fine. I think I want him to hover for like a second, like just a little bit, as the thrust is kind of being turned off. And then when the thrust turns off, he's going to drop down. So let's fix that. I'm also going to set a key at this point. I don't really like just using spline. This is a personal preference, but I like to, if I have like a top of a curve, I want to lock that down with a key. No, I want that to be longer still. Let's try like a big... That's too long. Bring it to about there. And now it needs to go forward in space. It's still going to travel forward. I delete this one. How's that look? There we go. That's what I wanted. Like he's going to have a little bit of forward momentum, but it's kind of stopping. And then because he's going forward, he wants to kind of thrust backwards. So now I need to get this rotation X, right? Because he's going forward, but he wants to come to a stop. So the jetpack needs to start kind of doing this motion. So he kind of stops himself because the jetpack is what's controlling him. So he needs to, yeah, just basically lean backwards to have the jetpack reverse direction. So this can be done more like that. Cool. And then he still, he can land like this. But I think also he still needs to have the chest curled forward though. So I'm gonna, yeah. So in a way, it's going to be the feet. There we go. Kind of feels okay. And I do want to maybe have the translation Z. This goes in and falls down flat. It's not very nice. Anyone else got any questions? Checking that pose. No, it's too much. delete that. Feels a bit nicer. That's a good question as well. Yeah, I will do quite a lot with the cog, like rotation the cog, especially for this character, but any character really. And then if I need to do more, I will use the bottom one the most and go up the chain less and less. So what I would normally do if actually is I would take maybe the first two together. So the cog and the bottom one, and I rotate this together like this. If it gets to the point where it's a bit broken, then I will just deselect that and I would just select the cog. But your second idea, so rotate the cord, get the general angle with the cog, and then pose the FK spine. That's what I do normally. But I do also want to make sure that when I'm doing the FK spine, this is after the cog. I want to animate them together, normally in object space. So I don't animate one, I do it together like this. And if things seem broken, I will then add more to the bottom, because the bottom is where the biggest movement is. Okay, I think I need the landing pose now. So I'm actually going to delete the feet here. Where's my rig? Okay, so these feet are spread out for some reason. Is that... Cool, I'm going to bend this leg up. So I'm thinking of the posing as well now as well. Put this on forward. I know this camera is really annoying. I might do it now actually. The very subtle camera animation. So I'm not really good at camera stuff, especially with the basics, but I should probably make a camera rig. But I might do that. I have a camera rig I downloaded. You don't need to do things this complicated with camera animation. You can just add your own curves and make a rig. It's really simple, but I have this one I found. If I remember to link it down below after this video, I will. I've got to find it though, so I can't just link it now. Where is it gone? This one? No. Cool. So what this does, it brings in this rig. Move this over here. Basically, this is see how there's a camera here. Basically, it's just a rig where I can animate the controllers and the rig follows. Like you can see this. So I'm just gonna get it roughly the same position. I kind of scale this up so I can vaguely get the right position, like that. Like that. Maybe animate this a little bit up. Cool. Panels, layout, split right. Put this one as the cine camera. Okay, so the focal length is 60 for this one. Let's set the focal length to be the same. For this to be 60. Not 60, no, 60. Cool. I want to show none to show the animation itself. Set on, I want to also set the, do that. Set the, I like the boxes, the resolution gate and stuff. There we go. Just check that's kind of the same. That's about the same, right? Basically the same. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, cool. So then what I want to do now is I have, if you look at this camera rig, there's a pretty cool viewports, knobs, curves, and show. Yeah, so basically this rig has a focus thing. So if you click on the aim control on, it's going to shift this basically to this little yellow controller here. So I can basically animate this. And it's just a really quick little way of getting like animation to follow through. So yeah. So you can add a little bit of like, movement here. I mean, I'm gonna animate this later, but like down, up, move over here, and then that's too far across, I think. Right there, down, up, down. Cool. Okay, that's very, very, very rough animation. So I will do more. Doing more. Oh, hey, X-Fang, welcome back. Bonjour or bonsoir for me. I don't speak French, by the way, so don't speak to me in French. I'm doing well, though, thank you. The shot's come along quite a long way, I think, since you joined yesterday. So I can put the air conditioning on. It was like 36 degrees in Korea today. And the aircon remote's not working, please. 1 second. There we go. Cool. Okay, I put text back on and panels, 2 panels side by side, and I want this to be the cine camera. Cool. Yeah, I do find the MB file does crash less actually. But then I've also had issues where the file just gets deleted with the MB file. So although Animate does have autosave feature, but it makes Maya so slow and it's not that reliable. So I just hope it doesn't crash and try and save often. Okay, let's work on this landing a bit more. Okay. Yeah. At work I use Maya 2022. But yeah, I also have versions. I mean I should do like layer version 1, version 2. I should do that. Okay, I'm gonna set key 2079, delete this one, the rotation's weird. Okay. So I need a landing pose. So I think 89 could be a good landing pose. So I'm going to put this on the ground. So I'll keep everything at 89. Oh, I've actually got keys here a lot. Let's clean this up a little bit. So I like this pose. And then I like this one here. So I'm thinking about the so when you do lead animation, it's still good to lock down poses that you like. So I think this pose here is quite nice. I mean, I think at least it's roughly okay. So I want to lock that down. So 79 everything's keyed at 79. And I think, yeah, that's fine too. Okay, cool. Animator should animate the camera too. So it depends on the job you're doing. At work, I do animate the camera. I have to do layout as well. So yeah, I do layout animation. Which is pretty simple because my TV show and my movie doesn't really have any massive like action scenes. It's just camera zoom in, camera tracking. It's just simple. But yeah, if you want to animate the camera, it does definitely add to the appeal of the shot. It can do at least. It depends on what you're doing though. Don't animate the camera for no reason. There should be a reason for the camera to move. So in this shot, I'm following his jump, so he's got to actually track the jump. But if it feels like the camera action is visible, if you can tell the camera is moving, then you've done a bad job. The camera should move naturally, and it should move kind of as a reaction to the animation. So the animation happens first, and the camera kind of follows. Okay, so I want 87 to be the in frame, don't I? Yep. So I'm gonna bring this down. He's gonna look down at the ground for a bit. He's gonna be landing. This foot should come down. there. Cool. Keep this foot up. I think it actually feels quite nice being up. I mean, I might do that later. Okay, cool. These arms will come up. I'll just do this now, might as well. So that's kind of the landing pose. And then for this bit, it's going to be frame by frame. But I'm going to skip to 89. Set key there. Delete 88. And I want to do that ghost poser thing again. So take my geometry. I want to see this pose in the flesh. So put that in there. Make ghost pose. Or delete all. And make this one here. Cool. And then at 89, I want to match this with the IK. So I want to make sure that I have the IK switch. So this is IK blend 0. And 89 is 1. Okay, cool. I will probably do this over 1 frame. But for now, I'll just do it over 2. I can switch it later. So I'm going to move this in to where it was. I think now, because it's landing a bit harder, I think actually this is too much of a roll. So this could be a lot softer. I mean, actually, I think even 89, it could basically be on the ground, to be honest. This has animation. I'm going to delete this for now. Just match this. So this is why I love the ghost poser. I'm doing an IKFK matching. But if you're just joining, the link for this plugin is higher up somewhere. It's here. I think maybe this should be on the ground. I'm going to put this on the ground for now. This is this controller here. Put this to 0. And that should be on the ground, yeah? Cool. And I'm going to take this IK switch. And I'm going to, right now it's at 1. And I want this to be over 1 frame. So I'm going to take this and move it back once. So now it's a 1 frame switch. 87, 88. Oh, you can't see my thing, can you? I'll move this. I move my face to this side for now. Over here. There we go. So basically, I'm doing the IK switching. So I want to make sure that the FK. So the IK is the same. 89 and 88 the same. So copy this pose. And then I want to. This is the 87. So then 88. But this is 0. And then 88 can be what's causing that? Oh, that's, yeah, that needs to be 0 too. So that's toe tap. This is again frame by frame. Like that. And then a bit more roll. Not too much. Actually, that's pretty fine. Bring it back in space. Yeah, okay. That feels okay. But I've actually fixed this IK now. So that's select all these. 89 is fine. Let's delete these and delete these. So now 89 is the same to the end. I might add some more movement later, but just for now. Okay, and the reason why it's doing that is because if I go into the graph editor, I think the curves are, yeah, you see how it's being funky. So I'm just going to select these, hit the D key on my keyboard, which is doing the auto tangent. So hit D, and that should flatten them out. Cool. So that leg feels a bit better. The hips still need a bit of work because they're quite light. Okay. Yeah, I think it's coming together. I mean, how long? It's been doing hour and a half streaming. Let's do 10 more minutes, and then I'm going to call it a night, because it's quite late for me. It's nearly midnight for me. Well, it's 11:20. That feels very like a ballerina, like using a pirouette. Actually, it's quite a nice pose. It could be that could be the final pose, but it's not quite as extreme. Let's bring this in here like that. But that's quite similar to the first pose. I want to end on a, that's quite similar, right? So I want something a bit different. Yeah. I mean, it's more the hands that need to be changed, not the feet. Okay. Let's just check this. That's... What do I do to initiate the creative process? Oh, that's so hard. Recently, what I've been doing is I find the rig first, and the rig prompts me for something. So I'm not sure what rig are you using. What type of rig is it? Like a, is it like body mechanics rig, like a faceless rig, or is it more of a character? What is it? I'm gonna have this here. Bring that in like that. Cool. I mean, in that case, what I would do is I would, if it's for learning, then I would just try to think of things you haven't done before. So, for example, like if you haven't done someone sitting down on a chair, just do that. If you haven't done someone jumping over a wall, do that. Um, if it's for more of a portfolio piece, then I would just try to think of things that you can combine together. So you could, I mean, I'm not sure if you've seen my portfolio from when I was a student. I'll show you now. But the first body mechanics thing I did, for my portfolio at least, if I can find it, it's so old now. So this was my like first body mechanics demo reel. Um, this shot here. So I'll play it for you quickly. So this is what I did for Animation Mentor. So just I had a jump, I had like a throw, and I had like a dodge, a weight shift. I had like a trying to get like an impact frame, and then a quad walk, and then I had contacts and a throw. Like I was trying to showcase as many different movements in one. And this was also a shot I did, which was like a showing different forces. Which while it's not the best shot in terms of quality, like looking at it now, there's like posing issues, but it was good for learning how forces affect the character. And this is just a walk. Yeah. So that this didn't get me a job because I was still studying, but it did. I don't know. It did get me a job actually. Sorry, I was wrong. This got me a job because I was working for a freelance project. So like a temporary thing. But yeah, so yeah, I would just try to showcase as many different movements as you can. Oh, cheers, thank you. Yeah, that's old now. Yeah, I did all 6 courses. Uh, I graduated. When did I graduate? It's not actually been that long. I graduated in 2020. Actually, no, I graduated 2022 December. No, yes, December 2022. So Christmas. So it's been a year and a half, 18 months. But I did also the creature workshop because I can show you. Oh no, back. I also have like some creature stuff which I did, which is this some acting stuff, which is not that good. I had a flight thing as well. I did dragons, though my dragon works got a lot better. This was pretty poor. That's the same shot again. I did a catwalk. I did this shot unfinished. It's like a work in progress. This is I was still a student here, and yeah, I wasn't very happy with that shot to be honest. But then the one that I mean now you see like this is what I did last week. Like I'm getting my creature work's getting better. I do lots of creatures at the office, but it's more like cartoony dogs and cats. It's not like visual effects stuff. I have a cycle tutorial here, by the way. This is the walk cycle result. It's definitely looking at, there's some issues with the shot to be honest. I mean, I'm very picky with my work, but and then you got, yeah, dinosaur stuff. This is my dragon stuff now, like flight cycle. This has still got some issues. It actually feels quite light, this dragon cycle. Like the wing should be a bit stronger. But yeah, still, yeah. But yeah, I mean, this is a better cycle. Actually, no, it's not. It's equally, there's the same. It's still light as well. But yeah. But yeah, that's kind of the work I did. So yeah, sorry, to answer your question, just work on, if it's for portfolio, just try and get different movements into the shot. If it's for personal work, just do something you haven't done before. Okay, I'm going to fix this foot quickly for the placement, then I'm going to call it a day. So this is the pose I want. So I got to frame 90, I got to get the FK working for this pose. So let's get the let's key this, go to the FK blend. This should be FK still, so make it down to the bottom here. I want to bring the leg back like that. Reference for animation. So the website I use for all my references, especially for creatures, but also for humans, is Getty Images. It's amazing, this place. You type in what you want. So you can't obviously get the exact thing you want. You got to think about, let's say I'm doing a dinosaur, I got to think what animal moves like a dinosaur. So that would be a chicken. But a chicken is really small, so I've got to think about how to change the weight and stuff. But like you can type in here, like even before, like tiger walking, and you get all these references of a tiger walking. You click on it, and then you go to, don't do the buying, you don't need to buy it, just click on comp and download. It's free, and you then add it into your Maya scene with image planes, or you can use keyframe MP, which is this plugin, this website, this video player, and then you actually can do a really cool trick where if I show you any video, which I have, like, okay, this is a different shot, this is from something else, but I have the plugin open and I have this script, which is this one, which you can buy from the website. Just type into Google Keyframe Pro and you can download it. The player is free. The script might be paid, but the player is free. And then you click sync. And now if I scrub Maya, the timeline also scrubs together. So I can block out my scene while looking at the reference. It's really good. But if you don't have this, don't worry. Just make it into an image sequence. So use like Photoshop, or don't use a video, just have an image sequence. And you go to view, image plane, import image, and you can have it in Maya. But yeah, that's the website. Getty Images is the website to use for your references. Okay, save this quickly. Get rid of that for now. Okay. Get this foot out. Rotate this up. This might be too light. Make it a bit less transparent. I'm checking this knee. Oh, the knee's broken. That's why. The knee's completely broken. Go up there. So update ghost post. Update that one. That's better. Now I can make it a bit nicer. I think this might be something to work on tomorrow because this is a little bit rough. Brings up more. It shouldn't be the same because of course it's going to have the spacing. If it's the same, it's going to be the 2 frames the same pose. That's wrong. It's going to get similar. Maybe have this up. Let's take this up. I'll clean this up tomorrow, but just to get something right, and I might just delete this one. That's obviously wrong. Okay, yeah, that is terrible. Okay, that is terrible. Okay, but I think even so, I'm gonna probably call this a day. This is a quick play blast, and let's just see what this looks like now. And then yeah, see if this looks okay, and then I'll call it a day. So you also realize I haven't even animated the left arm once this entire stream, because I don't need to. It's basically like a tail. It doesn't do much for the overall shot. Okay, where has it gone? Let's have a look. Cool. Okay, yeah, that's not too bad. Okay, I think it's coming together. So if you watch what it looked like from the start of the stream, it looked pretty terrible. So just do it before and after, if I can do this. If you go to the previous one, just checking. Where is it gone? Content, live. Just to compare. Should probably save this as different versions, like part 1, part 2. One second, so I'm trying to find it out. Or maybe I can't find it. I don't think I have the other file. But that's fine. Whatever. Okay. Cool. So I'm gonna call it a day there then. So I will probably join same time tomorrow. I think by the end of the week I can get this shot down. So tomorrow's Wednesday, right? Yeah. Assuming nothing comes up in my personal life that I can't work on this, like maybe my daughter is busy or my daughter wants to play or something, as in she wakes up and I have to put her back to bed, then hopefully I can finish this. But yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow, and I'll hopefully get this more towards polish as well. Cool. Have a good night or have a good day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. And please do go and subscribe, watch my other videos, watch my other streams. It really does help me. And I'll see you guys in the next stream. Cheers, goodbye, and happy animating. Bye-bye.